why is this the second video that I'm filming standing up? I couldn't tell you. And what's funny is I say this is the second, but you'll probably see this video before the other video. So, I don't know. I read 12 books in the month of September, and it was very hit or miss, which you will definitely see. But you know, I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of how far I made in my backlog challenge. Even if I did cheat at the end to get to 10 books, because I told myself that if I finished 10 books, which was my monthly goal, that I could then start reading horror books. And I may have cheated a little bit together, okay? I will admit. But hey, I technically started my backlog challenge in August. So I read over 10 books off my backlog, which was super exciting. But now we're getting this weird problem where my backlog, for those of you who don't know, my backlog is that I have my physical TBR, my digital TBR on Stargraph, and then I have sort of an in-between hybrid. It is this written journal thing where each check marks is a book. Anyway, red highlights books that I really want to get to that I haven't read. And as you can see, this first page is mostly read now. And so my plan is next year to pick roughly the first 5. It won't be the first 5 because a lot of this is one author, and I love that author, but I feel like that might be too much. So my plan is to take roughly 10 of these, limit myself to 3 per each author to buy, to get them off my backlog that way as well. Just to get through more things. But yeah, we did really good. Considering, again, this is a challenge that I made myself to hold myself more accountable to read the things that I set out to read. Mainly it's been to get things off my physical TBR, but I think now that we're starting to hit this thing of some of the older stuff that I still haven't bought, to either pick it up or get off the list. And I do, out the stuff that I don't own, occasionally do go through and weed out some stuff, but details. But that's what you're here for. You're here for the books. So I started off this month with The Lawrence Brown Affair by Kate Sebastian. This was not part of the backlog, but I've been doing a challenge on Stargraph to read a queer book every month, and I was worried, based off of the books that were on the backlog, that I wouldn't get to a queer book otherwise, so I snuck this in. This was for my 25 books in 2025 challenge, so it worked out. I loved it. It was delightful. Yeah. Look, it's really funny because if I would say, so this is technically book 2 in the Turner series, but it's a standalone. You don't have to read it. There's references to stuff that happened in book 1, but it's very light, mainly nods to the other characters. It's over there now. But it's funny because I will say that if you liked A Gentleman's Gentleman by T.J. Alexander, that you will also like this. And it's not there's not trans rap in the same way there is here, but I think that these two stories are very similar in the sense of and I don't remember if the characters in this were autistic or not, but there's something about this book and this book that feel very similar to me in a way that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I will say that. And it's not autistic is not the word that they use in the book, but there's just some mannerisms and stuff that give me the same vibe as someone who's autistic. I'm not autistic, I should say, but it gives me that coded vibe. Sorry, I had to put the book away. I might edit that out. We'll see. Next up, I read Emma by Jane Austen. I liked this. However, I will say, I know a lot of people prefer this over Pride and Prejudice, and I don't. I wish I liked this more. It was also very funny because I have seen Emma Approved, but it's been a while since I watched Emma Approved, since it came out. So it was very funny having Emma Approved sort of hit me as I'm listening to the audiobook for this, because I ended up listening to the audiobook for this. On this physical copy, I just was I just feel that's an audiobook that I should just do, and I did, and it was fun. But yeah, I definitely think that there was some stuff. Look, I think my thing with Emma that proved that I like more than Emma is that it cuts off a lot of the unnecessary parties and discussions that at the time I think were very important, that for that sort of the narrative was going for. They just felt boring to me, so I was just kind of done. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it a 4, I think. But again, I prefer Pride and Prejudice. It is what it is. Then, really quickly, just to mention that I read volume 19. Nope. Volume 19 of My Hero Academia. I'm not really gonna it's volume 19. There's not really anything I can say. Then in just trying to get things off my backlog. And things that really I should have gotten rid of years ago. Somehow this moved in with me. I bought this at a used store when I was probably in middle school, if not late elementary. So that's embarrassing. We have a Genuine Being Real in an Artificial World by Stacey Rico. Some of you are like, I have not heard the name in decades, and other people are like, who? And yeah, this is just a kitschy little, like, book that screams early 2000s Christians, but trying to be relatable. And, yeah, look, I read this, I didn't give it a rating, and I immediately put it in the pile of books I'm getting rid of, so... but you know, it's been sitting on my shelf for years, so I figured I need to finally just get it off the shelf. So we've done that. Next, and this was actually left over from a, this was like Kiss and Batteries, is a book that I bought because of College Course. We briefly touched on it, but not read it in full, so I wanted to read it in full. That is Mary Oliver's The Poetry Handbook. I wish that I had read this when I was more writing poetry than I do now. But it was good, and I learned a lot. But yeah, I wish, like, it's one of those things that I'm not writing poetry now, but I wish I had when I was writing poetry. But you know, it is what it is. Then, in books, I've had this book since it came out in paperback in like 2021, 2022. And I put it down at the time because I was not in a headspace where I could do this book. And I wish that I had done it then, because the people that I want to yell about this book to, I don't feel like I talk to anymore. But I like to like be the one that happens this book until I get the point. And that is Jesus and John Wayne, How White Evangelicals Corrupted a Faith and Fractured Nation. There's a section of this book that is about the megachurch that I went to. So you know, fun times. But yeah, it was super good and super fascinating. And I was telling my roommate that like it felt like it felt like having all the pieces to a puzzle. And not knowing that what I had in my hands was a puzzle. Because like a lot of the people mentioned this book are people like I just like know by name, like because I grew up in these spaces. So like there's a few that I didn't, but like for the most part, like I'm like, oh, I know who they are, or, like I know who they are, but like I couldn't have contextualized the bigger portrait, right? But yeah, this was really good and depressing, and yeah. So I bought this book since I moved into this apartment. I bought it shortly after I moved in, and I kind of picked it up like sight unseen. Like it wasn't like a book I was like, oh, I really like I'm looking forward to like reading that book. I picked it up and then I read a little bit of it and then I put it down, and I kind of wish that I had DNF'd it. And that is Welcome to the Writer's Life. How to design writing craft business, writing practices and reading practices. I have better books on writing. I have, and the thing is that some of the business stuff was less interesting because of how it's presented. But then also like it was a yellow flag because then like in the business section under like recommended resources is like Dave Ramsey. I'm like, I know, like I'm sorry if you're recommending Dave Ramsey, that's an automatic ick for me personally. Like I don't, that, no. I don't have time to explain that and get into it, but like please note that yeah, side-eye this author because of that. But yeah, I wanted more from it, to be honest. Sorry, I put it in the pile of books I'm getting rid of and that whole pile just like fell over. So fun times. Next we have in things I wasn't expecting like a lot from, because I normally typically do not rate short story collections over a 3.5. We have Arrival by Ted Chiang. This was originally published as Stories of Your Life and Others, which obviously then one of them short stories became the movie Arrival. And I loved most of these. These were just interesting and fascinating, and I could not put it down. I think I read this in like 2 days. It just like really hit in a way that I wasn't expecting, because again, I don't normally give story collections like higher than like I think 3.75 is the highest I've given a short story collection. And I think I gave this like a 4 or 4.5. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really good. Highly recommend it, especially if you like short stories, if you like science fiction, like, and more like speculative science fiction than like outer space. I think you'll like it. Speaking of books that I've had for forever and never read, I read the Romance Book Club. This is Whitman's book 1 in a series that's like 5 or 7 books. And it is about this group of guys who read romance novels as part of a book club to fix their relationships. So this man, his wife wants a divorce, and his friends are like, hey, so we have this book club. Well, actually, they don't tell him that. They're like, hey, show up at this place at this time and we will fix your problems. And he shows up and turns to this book club and he's like, what do you mean a book club's gonna solve my problems? And what do you mean we're reading romance novels? And like, we call them manuals. This was just funny. There was a part in the middle, like I wasn't like the biggest fan of, but like it redeemed itself at the end. I'm not convinced that I will read the rest of the series, or at least I won't prioritize the rest of the series, but like it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a romp. And this was kind of a reread, which is why I said it was kind of cheating, the backlog thing, but I own a copy of the new release of it, so that is the traditionally published version of Limitless by Katee Robert. I read this. It was super fun because I love this book. It was fun reading all like her little notes. And yeah, this was just fun. Then, because we then finished those books, we then got to start the horror books. So, this is Feral and Hysterical, Mother Horror's Ultimate Reading Guide to Dark and Disturbing Fiction by Women. So this is like a series of essays, and then also like, it'll be like, it'd be like a book, a bit about it, sort of the description, and then like the author's like thoughts on the book. And it covers a bunch of different types of horror, some sort of like more traditional books, women versus cults, women or splatterpunk, and yeah, and I picked some books off recommendations off of this. I had some books from TBR. There's some books that I already love that were on here. It was just interesting. It was so cool to see like the breadth and the genres represented in this, and then also to just, you know, see so many books written by women was delightful. And I love that they also had like translated horror section. It was so fun and interesting. And then the first actual horror book I had this spooky season was The Possession of Ella Diaz. I loved this. I think this or The Hacienda are probably like my favorite two of her books so far. This was delicious. If you like horror and romance, and I do mean like horror, although I will say like, because like there is possession, like this isn't like from Fuzzy Tales, but also like this cover is just gorgeous and everything. But yeah, I love this so much. It was a good way to kick off the spooky season, I will say. Yeah, and that's everything that I read in September. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching. October's gonna be fun because I'm reading some more horror books, and I've already finished two. And I'm currently number 3, and it's delicious, and I cannot wait to talk about it. The book I'm currently reading, my favorite book of the whole year so far. And I'm very excited to like talk about it because I will ramble about it. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!